Hello guys, and welcome to my Stamina Warden PvP build and commentary. This is a medium armor bow 2H build, and it hits hard. Oh my gosh, it is a rebuild of Ghost that I've done on the Stamina Templar, so you'll see a fairly similar playstyle on it, but it has got crazy amounts of regen, crazy amounts of damage, crazy amounts of healing power. This has been such a fun build to play, and yeah, it's really strong. I think it might honestly be better than the Templar version I've played in the past. But anyway, jump into the build, guys. I hope you enjoy the video. Check out that PvP footage at the end, and as always, if you are enjoying what you see here, feel free to hit that like and subscribe button, and maybe we'll see Ghost rebuilds on the other classes. So let's take a look at the build. So to start off, we are a Nord, and I actually chose Nord on purpose for this build. I even race changed my Warden, and the reason is because Nord gives me that HP bonus. It gives me the 6% reduced incoming damage, as well as that 6% maximum stamina bonus. Orc is also a really good choice. It's really between Orc and Nord for this build. Orc is going to do 6% more damage, and Nord is going to take 6% less damage. So it's kind of what you want from this character. Using Vampirism and Mist form, I think that Nord synergizes better than Orc does, but if you really want to go Glass Cannon, Orc is your best bet. Taking a look at our stat page, we've got 12,669 Magicka, 21k health, and 32k stamina. Now, something to keep in mind about this health value is that it does get a 10% bonus from our Green Balance passive here, which gives us, where is it here? Maturation, minor toughness for that 10% bonus. So the HP in PvP actually goes up to 23k on this build while you're in combat. Now the regens on this build look absolutely fantastic. I'm just going to buff it up for you so you can see 2,213 stamina recovery. Wow, super great. And then the health recovery is just crap, but that's fine. This build has tons of burst heals, so we don't have to worry about health recovery. Magicka recovery coming in at 1,400. Also really awesome. We use a lot of Mist form on this build, so we do need that Magicka recovery in order to make it viable. The weapon damage on this spec is pretty beefy too, so fully buffed we're coming in at 4,044 weapon damage, plus 600 including our enchant off our bow. So we have 4,600 fully buffed weapon damage and just under 3,600 maximum stamina. So we've got quite a beefy damage build on this spec. Crit coming in at 33%. When we use our pot, it buffs it up to 44% or 43%. And then the physical and spell resists are pretty good too, 18k across the board, and they get better because we are running Bloodspawn, so we'll take a look at that as well. And then finally, 1800 crit resist, kind of the bare minimum for medium armor, want to run around 2k. 1800's cutting it a little close, but it worked out okay. The build's pretty good. For the Mundus, we're running the Warrior. And for the drink that we use, we're actually using a Magicka and Stamina Recovery drink. So this is Cloud Rest Clarified Coffee. Just increase your Magicka and Stamina Recovery by 500 for 1 hour. This is a really easy drink to get. It's a common recipe, and it's super fantastic. 500 base regen to both pools that really need it. I cannot complain. So we've gone with this drink. We didn't go with the purple drink because the purple drink, of course, is going to give us health recovery. Also, it's not going to give us as much Magicka and Stamina recovery. And then for the potions on this build, I am using Essence of Weapon Crit. This is going to give us max health and max stamina, as well as both 20% recovery bonuses. And on top of it, it's going to give us 10% weapon crit for the 47-second duration that it lasts. And this is, of course, on a 45-second cooldown, so we get to keep this buff up 100% of the time. Okay, so let's take a look at the gear that we're running today. So as I mentioned, we've got two-piece Bloodspawn on. Now, I tried a bunch of different sets with this build, and I actually came back to Bloodspawn because it works just so well with Mist form, and it's super rewarding on the Warden. You know, the Warden has some really good ultimates, and the ultimate generation from Bloodspawn is super fantastic to keep those ultimates up a lot. On top of it, the one piece on Bloodspawn is Stamina Recovery, which is super awesome for this build too. Bloodspawn, of course, is going to not only give us ultimate, but increase our physical spell resist by 6,450 for the 6 seconds when it procs. So when our Bloodspawn goes off, we have over 2,400 physical spell resist in medium armor. Not bad at all. The next set that we're wearing is my Greatsword set, so this is only on my Greatsword bar and not on my bow bar, and this is a 5-piece Hulking Draugr. Now this was arguably the most difficult set to get for this build, because you do have to get a Hulking Draugr Greatsword. If you don't have Hulking Draugr, Hunding's Rage is a great alternative. Don't go for things like Automaton, because it will not affect your Subterranean Assault. You could still go with Automaton if you didn't have any other sets, but ideally you want to do Hulking Draugr, Hunding second. Hulking Draugr, of course, is a great set because it's going to bulk up the stamina on this build and just increase the raw max stats so that my base damage is really high. This is great for PvP because people run crit resist, etc. Base damage is by far the best thing to run in PvP because it will give you the most amount of outgoing damage consistently across all targets. I've also got Hulking Draugr in my gear here, and then, yeah, it's just the gear. For the next set we're running, we've got the Senshei's bow, and this is only on the bow bar. So we've got it on the bow here, and then the 3 jewelry. I went with the Senshei jewelry because you can get it in gold. Jewelry crafting's coming soon, guys, but until then, I will enjoy my gold Senshei. And then on top of it, I've got 1-piece Senshei on the belt here. So if we take a look at the traits on the gear, you see that I have 5 well-fitted and 2 impenetrable. I think this is ideal for the build. You want to have a lot of well-fitted because you need to roll a lot. Impenetrable, you want at least 2 pieces just to bulk up at least 500 crit resist on the build, and the rest you can get from your champion points. On the jewelry, I went with full weapon damage and chance. This build has tons of sustain. All we need is more damage, my friends. And then on the Greatsword, we have a Disease enchant. I like Disease because of the mild heal debuff that it can apply to your target, not to mention the flat damage that the enchant itself can do when you attack a target. And then on the bow, we've got the Infused Bow with a increase your weapon and spell damage by 252. So we get the weapon spell damage bonus off the bow. This equates to 600 weapon damage after bonuses are applied. So we get 4,600 weapon damage doing a roll dodge as well as the light attack off our bow. And of course, Senshei is such a good set because not only does it give you that massive 430 base weapon damage, but it also gives you 650 crit. So that's going to be about 3% crit added on, and this stacks directly onto our Greatsword bar. So this is how we can do so much damage on our front bar. We just set with our back bar to get it started. Let's continue on to the abilities that we're using. So we're going to start on our front bar here. We've got our Greatsword bar. The first ability we have is Reverse Slice. This is our Executioner. Execute, I guess. I went with the Reverse Slice more for the splash because we have a lot of AoE damage on this build, and Reverse Slice is going to be great for just capitalizing on that AoE splash damage. Reverse Slice still does a lot of damage to a single target, but the splash is super nice, especially coupled with our Dawnbreaker and Subterranean Assault. The next ability we have is Critical Rush. ZeniMax has butchered Critical Rush so hard. They're like, Jack, we don't like you using Crit Rush to do damage. We're going to nerf it so hard, even though it's the snare that's the real problem with gap closers. We don't care. We're not going to listen. We're just going to nerf Crit Rush. Well, here you go, ZeniMax. You can nerf Crit Rush all you freaking want. I will make it work. We still run Crit Rush on this build. It still does some decent damage, but the big part about this Crit Rush is that it is going to line up our Subterranean Assault, allowing us to do more damage than I was doing with my Crit Rush on my Templar. So there you go, ZeniMax. So the next ability we have is Bird of Prey. It is Magicka access to Major Expedition, so it's nice because we don't have to roll dodge for the speed if we use this. On top of it, it gives us Major Endurance and Minor Berserk for 10 seconds. Now, this is kind of an expensive buff for its short duration, and that's why we've got quite a bit of Magicka sustain on this build, because we do have good buffs as well as Mist Form to use, and we want to make sure we can use them. But the Minor Berserk is the big part here. That 8% bonus damage is going to let you hit oh so much harder. The next ability that we have is Rally, and I went with Rally, of course, because we're running Mist Form for the snare immunity, so we don't need forward momentum, and Rally is going to be a fantastic heal over time, as well as a fantastic burst heal. We've got crazy offensive stats on this build, and they all play into our healing, so we can get a good amount of healing on this build, and then Rally coupled with our Soothing Spores is one of the deadliest combos I think, for burst healing on the Warden. So taking a look at the next ability we have, Soothing Spores, which comes in at the 9k base heal, and if they're less than 8 meters away, it's 15% stronger. So that's more than 9k already. We're looking at 10.5k, and then if we use it while we're under 40% HP, we get a 25% bonus to our healing. Yeah. This goes up to a 13k tooltip on Soothing Spores. Rally actually has a higher base tooltip once it starts to tick, but pretty much the way it works is if your health drops low, you go Soothing Spores into your Rally burst heal, and you are full health. This build has crazy healing power, and Soothing Spores is a huge part of it, proccing that Major Mending and then pushing it into that big Rally heal off the Major Mending. For the ultimate on this build, we have Dawnbreaker of Smiting, and Dawnbreaker of Smiting, of course, is going to be the ultimate because it is such a huge damage ultimate. I did not go with Flawless Dawnbreaker because I wanted the stun from Smiting because we have so much AoE damage on this build. It adds huge AoE burst potential to this spec. The ability to just nuke a group of players when you turn around in your Mist form is massive. So that's why I went for the stun on Smiting, to make sure that we could capitalize on those nukes. Not to mention Smiting has a bit higher of a tooltip, but we did give up about 5% weapon damage doing this. Dawnbreaker of Smiting is great not only for that stun, but it puts a pretty beefy dot on the target afterwards, so it allows you to really put the pressure down. This coupled, of course, with Bloodspawn means that you're going to have tons of Dawnbreakers flying out, so there you go. Taking a look at our bow bar, the first ability that we have is Poison Injection. You guys know why this is here. This is our second execute, so it's a damage over time ability, and of course it becomes an execute ability once their health begins to drop, because that dot does more and more damage. Poison Injection is one of the best bow skills in the game, and the reason I have it here is for those trickier single targets that can take the full damage combo from this build. You want to make sure you have something to kind of whittle them down while you're comboing them as well. The next ability we have is Magnum Shot. Now, Magnum Shot is a personal favorite ability of mine. Not only does it have a pretty beefy tooltip for a bow skill, but on top of it, it's a really good stun. It'll also knock me backwards. So something to keep in mind is that Magnum Shot knocks my opponent back 6 meters and knocks me back 6 meters and has 10 meters of range. So this has 24 meters of total reach, with Subterranean Assault coming in at 20 meters of range. So you can effectively use Magnum Shot with Subterranean Assault Crit Rush combo and get them all to land, unless you're at max distance from the target, and then you'll have trouble getting the Subterranean to land if you don't Crit Rush early enough. I really like Magnum Shot for this build because it's a knockback. You knock people off edges. Super great for PvP to just knock people around. The stun on it's pretty freaking trolly too. And just the fact that it knocks you back too, it just helps with positioning, especially if you're in kind of a sticky spot. Hold block, go for the Magnum Shot. You'd be surprised where it can get you. Okay, the next ability we have is Elusive Mist. Mist form, baby. We went with Elusive Mist for that 75% damage reduction, full snare immunity, and as well as that 30% movement speed increase. What a fantastic skill. Elusive Mist I cannot say enough about. I've used it across all classes, all builds, and it is still my favorite, one of my favorite utility skills in the game. This is how you're going to get the hell out of dodge, a mix of mist roll, blocking, and roll dodging, and your burst heals is going to make you very hard to kill on this build as long as you stay on your toes and react accordingly. Mist form is great because it allows you to survive crazy stuff that nothing else would allow you to survive. So there you have it. Great for that mobility, great for that tank. Next ability we have is Subterranean Assault. You guys knew this was coming. Not only is this going to be a massive amount, look at that tooltip. Let's look at the tooltip on it actually on our front bar buffed. So we're going to do the roll dodge here. We're going to go for the rally, go for one more roll dodge actually. Okay, looking at that tooltip, coming in at 16k Subterranean Assault on our front bar, not including our poison or light attack buff. Yeah, so up to a 17k tooltip. This is a massive, massive damage dealer. On top of it, it's going to apply Major Fracture and Major Breach, to the target, reducing their spell and physical resist by 5.3k for 10 seconds. That is a massive debuff. It's great because it debuffs both. So if you're playing with another player and they're playing a Magicka spec, usually something with Vicious Death, which you commonly see in bombing, you will really be able to debuff the opponents for your friend's Magicka spec, where they would normally not have that debuff. So it has a lot of not only solo burst potential, but group burst potential as well. Not to mention this skill is incredibly cheap. 2,400 stamina. Yeah. Anyway, Subterranean Assault, so powerful. Crazy amount of combination damage. Subterranean Assault into a heavy attack Dawnbreaker of Smiting. That is 3 massive damage attacks that you can throw down on a target, and they'll all land at the same time, and stun and debuff them. So there you have it, guys. The last ability that we have is Ice Fortress. This is a fantastic defensive skill. It's got 24 seconds of duration. It gives you both Major Resolve and Major Ward for that 5.3k physical spell resist. On top of it, you gain Minor Protection, reducing your incoming damage by 8% for 24 seconds. This is really similar to the Templar's Restoring Focus, except that you don't have to cast it as often. It just stays on you longer. So it's a really nice long duration defensive buff. Quite expensive, but like I said, we have good Magicka sustain, so we will be able to keep this up 100%. And then finally, guys, for the bow bar, I'm running Healing Thicket. Now, either morph here is kind of up to you, whether you want the ult when you drop it down or the bonus healing for 4 seconds after you leave the forest. It's really up to you, but I think this is one of the best Warden ultimates in the game. It's super cheap, synergizes really well with the Bloodspawn Helm, tanking me up, giving me more ultimate, and then when I throw the Healing Thicket down, it just gives me massive heals over time. 2 or 3 players have a tough time killing you if you're standing in your Healing Thicket, even on this kind of squishier spec. So there you have it. I like this ultimate too because not only does it heal you, it offers a lot of group healing potential as well, which is pretty sweet. This build not only has that solo gameplay, but has a lot of AoE burst potential and some AoE burst heals as well. Even Soothing Spore is an AoE heal, so there you have it. Good all-around kind of build, I think, for the Warden here. One of the most full versions of Ghost I think I've ever put together. Okay, let's take a look at the champion points. Finish up this build video. Starting in the green tree, in the tower, we've got 8 Sprinter, 18 Warlord. Gotta sprint, gotta break free, my friends. In the lover tree, we've got 64 Mooncapped, 64 Arcanist, 0 Tenacity, 0 Healthy. I didn't do any Tenacity because my regen's actually really freaking good on this build. 2k is way more than I normally run, so that's awesome. 1500 Magicka recovery. Yeah, that's why we dump so much in here, just to accentuate those regens. The good passive here, of course, is Wind Running, that 2% movement speed, and then the Magicka recovery on sprinting. Both really great, actually. The Magicka recovery on sprint's actually pretty sweet, because you will be sprinting when you're not doing Mist form, so it'll get your Mist up quicker. In the Shadow Tree, we have got 66 Tumbling, 20 Shadow Ward. Big focus on Tumbling because we do a lot of roll dodging on this build, and we did put quite a few into Shadow Ward because blocking is, like I've said many times, very important for PvP. You need to block certain attacks or you'll just die, so there you have it. There you have it. Let's move on to the blue tree. In the Apprentice, we've got 32 in Blessed, and that is all. Just a little bit in healing here to bulk up our incoming heals, and that's all we need. In the Atronach tree, we've got 48 in Master at Arms and 25 Physical Weapons Expert. Now, a lot of people like to go for Tactician passive to get that off balance, and I did not, you know, because Tactician Exploiter, you do a roll dodge, especially in medium armor, you get that 10% off balance bonus damage. Well, if you don't do that, and you just dump into Master at Arms, don't do too much into Physical Weapon Expert, and then put the rest of your points into these trees, you make up for that 10% really over here. So I think that becomes effective if you want to have like really strong light and heavy attacks, as well as having that good damage, but this is just all around more consistent and does not require me to roll an attack in order to get that bonus. More specifically, to roll an enemy attack to put them off balance, right? So there you have it. I like this setup actually more than going for the Tactician passive like I have in the past. So if we take a look at the Ritual tree, we see the 64, 45, and 26. Big focus on Mighty here because we do want to focus on that flat damage increase. We're not too concerned about the crit. Quite a few points into Piercing. The Armor Pierce is really nice, taking down those tankier targets. And then just 26 into Precise Strikes. 43% crit. Didn't want to invest too heavily into this because it is actually like quite a useful passive if you have a much heavier crit build, but we don't. So the important passive here is Last Stand. Like I said, we are playing a build that becomes harder to kill as my health drops. You will fall below 20% HP on this spec through the course of a normal engagement, and your burst heals will quickly heal you back up to full health, and then you'll have Major Heroism. So you actually get access to Major Heroism on this build. We're not using the shield for it, but we do have access through Last Stand. Alright, so let's take a look at the red tree. In the Steed tree, we've got 56 Ironclad, 56 Resistant, 10 Spell Shield, 10 Medium Armor Focus. Big focus on just bulking up our armors here, 10 and 10. Huge amount dumped into crit resist. That's going to make up for the fact that we don't have a ton of crit resist on our gear. And then we've got a huge amount dumped into Ironclad. Most incoming high damage abilities are direct damage attacks, so Ironclad is going to be an excellent anti-burst counter to that. In the Lady Tree, we've got 19, 19, 23. Focus actually on the damage over time here because this build is not very strong against dots. The best way to suppress dots on this spec is to go into Mist form. And that's why I've kind of thrown a few more points in here than I did into Hardy and Elemental Defender. And then finally, in the Lord Tree, we've got 49 Quick Recovery. Just focus on that healing yet again because, like I said, not only is this build hit hard, we've got some impressive healing power on it. That's going to help.
Okay, so let's jump into some PvP commentary. So this clip, unfortunately, starts a little bit cut at the beginning. You missed the first kill here, but don't worry, there's lots to come. So this is a little bit of some 1vx on the build. So we're out here on a blue resource, kind of chasing this last guy down. He decides he's going to run away, but nope, we're not going to let that happen. Just a little fun thing to note on this video. My weapons are bugged out, so the visual display of them is backwards. I do have my bow out right now, even though it looks like I don't. But anyway, so you can see that I see a lot of blues on the resource decide to do a loop around the tower, because I do want to get in here knowing this is going to be kind of my best bet to stay alive, is stay in this tower. And it works out really well, because they don't follow me around the corner, and I kind of just walk up behind them. Not very many notice me, and easy peasy, we make it inside. And we engage with the first target here. A Warden comes up. I'm just making sure to stay pretty kitey around him. There you see I get a great Subterranean Assault off, lined up on him. Follow it up with the Dawnbreaker, execute to finish him off and bring him down. And then I just continue to play around here. I get a quick kill off on that Mage Guard just to make sure I don't take any unnecessary negates or anything else. And then I start putting some pressure into this guy. Start with, of course, the poison injection. I gauge him right away as a tankier target, so I want to make sure to combo him well. And of course we go for the mighty reload UI here, just to kind of fix our loading screen, and I'll skip it for you guys here. So we get back into the game, and a yellow Nightblade actually comes up, so he's alone out here too, and he is not aggressive to me, which is super awesome. I get a peek at him, and it's Enzo. I know this guy, I've played with him a few times before, and he is one hella good Nightblade, so I know that we're going to have a good time in here fighting these blue. We just throw a few arrows down on them because we just want to attract them up here. The first Sork kind of comes in here, and he retreats back, kind of just hoping to maybe pull me and the other players in here. And here you can see they come proc-steaded and everything. They're ready to train us down. So I just quickly mist up the top there, making sure I don't take any stuns, making sure I can just get away. Mist form being such a great utility skill. I managed to get the Subterranean Assault down, go for a mist in behind them and drop that Dawnbreaker. Just good kind of counter positioning there, moving against where they're moving to make sure I can line up that nice combo, and it actually results in the kill. This guy here is trying to res the guy that I went and killed, and the other guy just spams Wrecking Blow on me, so I keep bashing the reses, and the other guy thankfully is not doing too much damage. I do throw down the healing ult to make sure I'm okay through it, and the yellow Nightblade jumps in. Enzo's helping me finish off these guys. I get a nasty Magnum Shot off from behind on this guy into the crit rush executioner combo. What an absolutely beautiful combo. This guy here, I think, just got rezzed. He got up off the ground, no resources, quickly put him back down. Take an unfortunate tether there, and I go for the Mist form just to not only break the snare, but also to break the healing tether so he doesn't get healed from me as well. So then what we do is we reposition around here with yellow, and they go for a Destro Train. I tried the Dawnbreaker drop there, but hit a really tanky guy. Not really an effective strat. So we just come around the side here and reset. These blue are dropping all over the place, and they are not doing a great job of keeping pressure on top of us. So I'm trying to make sure that we can keep an eye on the bodies back here. This guy's battle strategy is to light attack me. I take some pressure from some other blue players, so that ends up working for him this time. Maybe not next time. The yellow player gets a friendly yellow to come and help him out here, so we've got a few more numbers here, but blue unfortunately is showing up with reinforcements and getting some reses off, so we're going to have to keep moving around. We can't really hold still. I get a really nice dodge on that guy, poison injection, turn around right into the Dawnbreaker. execute and bring him down. Really nice, powerful combo on him. The Subterranean Assault, as I take that stun there, actually gets a kill off on one of the lower HP targets in the back. So there you see the Subterranean Assault coming in clutch. I dropped my healing ult, kind of predicting a Dragon Knight leap, because I did see a DK behind me, but the leap does not come, and this guy here is bugged out visually as well. He's actually spamming Wrecking Blow, but you can't see his sword. Does not do a lot of damage again. He's just not playing a high damage spec. I can easily out heal it with a couple burst pulses, and we just wear him down and take him down. The yellow Nightblade comes up here and dispatches the other blue player that shows up. I get a nasty stun off on this Sork again, and then me and the yellow player finish him off. And there you see it. So at that moment, I actually went to click my camera, and a guy shows up right behind me and just one-shots me with a Dawnbreaker. So didn't miss much there. Let's move on to the next clip. So we're going to look at a little bit more of defensive play here, because that other clip really highlighted the offensive play of this build, I think. So here we see the resource. I ride in on my horse just to make sure I can get as close as possible with as much speed until I start to take attacks, go right into my mist form to make it up the staircase here, get to the back, buff up, and then get ready to engage. I start with the Subterranean Assault. I go for the Magnum Shot to knock him back, drop the Dawnbreaker. He does a fantastic counterplay, goes for the block. The right move there, absolutely the right call to make sure that he doesn't take the burst damage, and he ends up surviving it pretty easily and drops down the side from the bit of pressure there. A couple more blue players came up. You see that I actually had inadvertently dodged a Nightblade's gank there, so I know there's another Nightblade here as well hunting me, and I'm just going to keep kiting them around. I find the healer here, and I decide to actually go for the NPC. I don't want to take that long distance undodgeable stun from him. I know he's going to chase me around the tower, and I think the healer might be too difficult to take down there. And here we see you get a nice lineup of the players. Unfortunately, I Magnum Shot myself out of the tower. That's all right. One mistake, another opportunity. They all drop down, drop their HP. I go for the Dawnbreaker, and I actually get a kill off on this guy. And then I'm taking a bit of pressure, decide maybe I should go back into the tower. I misclick, unfortunately, and do a roll in the wrong direction, so I commit to the roll a second time and then missed back in the direction that I came. This was kind of not maybe the best call, but what it did do is it let me pull the next guy that was up top here out of the tower. So now that I'm coming back up to the top, there's nobody to kind of pound on my hit points while I desperately need to get some resources back here. So I managed to make it back up, which is great. Mist form, roll dodge being super clutch to helping me make it through there. And I'm just left to fight this tankier player here. And he's running a kind of a higher HP spec. Not really a lot of healing power at all. Just goes down to the damage, doesn't try to stop it. And then an EP player jumps down here and gets jumped on by this Sork that we were fighting earlier, the one that defended our attack really well. I decide to let them continue to do their thing, and I'm going to run around the other side just to make sure that no other blues came up. And it is clear it's just me and this other EP and the Sork here, so we just get the last kill on this guy here. So we're just taking a look in this clip at kind of that defensive play, how important it is to use your mist form and roll dodge, and even to hold block in between your rolls, just to make sure you don't take the unfavorable damage. You can really get out of some really sticky looking situations on this build, and that funny little last kill, he actually dies from the fall damage, so there you go. Alright, so now let's take a look at some more defensive play, and this one's going to be an example of something where I don't have necessarily the best terrain to work with. There you see my super clutch Dawnbreaker on nothing. I don't even know why I did that. Like, there's no excuse. There's just no excuse. Anyway, there you see I blow my ult right off the bat, and we are going to take some pressure from these blues here. So these guys are... Not only are they more, I think, experienced players here, but also they're playing kind of more powerful builds. They're fairly tanky, and they are pressuring me quite hard. You see that it starts off with just the couple of them, but we're going to get quite a few blues on us here, and we're going to try to tank them out as best we can. So here you see we're just going to use the terrain, and big LOS gameplay is important here, and of course making sure to keep an eye. We've got a lot of wrecking blows incoming, and we really don't want to take a bad wrecking blow stun, because one bad wrecking blow stun opens up the window for everybody and their mom to drop their ultimate on me. So we're going to be careful to make sure that we negate all the incoming Wrecking Blow damage with either Roll Dodge, Mist Form, or Block. And it's important to make sure to hold the block. There you see I go for the Magnum Shot stun on this guy, trying to open up an offensive combo, and I hold block during that Magnum Shot. And if I had not held block there, I definitely would have just died because I took so much incoming damage. I almost died anyway, because even when I did hold block. So there you see the importance of just keeping your defenses up really tight, especially on a squishier spec like this. We've got lots of incoming stuns. There you see the Magnum Shot again. I go for the stun on him, a defensive stun, while holding block to make sure that I don't actually take the bad stun myself. So far, so good. I actually haven't taken an unfavorable stun yet from these guys. I'm getting a bit of CC immunity from the Eclipses. Not too concerned about the Eclipse, though, because I'm not doing too much offensive pressure. I drop my healing ultimate here because I'm running pretty low on stamina, and I know that I'm going to need to do something to kind of conserve my resources a little bit. But I'm still taking tons of pressure, so I go for a little bit of a defensive move back behind here, and I managed to get just one guy by himself. Again, the movement here is really important. I'm maintaining constant movement. I'm not standing still in one spot. If you play this like heavy armor, you stand still in one spot, you'll die, like right away. You're just not going to make it. You know, there's no there's no scenario on this spec where you can just stand there and have a bunch of guys attack you and you'll be fine. You got to use those defensive utilities, but when you do, just look at how effective they can be. You know, we've got a group of very, very aggressive players here, and you see they finally managed to get me with the Flame Reach, and what did I say? As soon as I take that stun, it's game over. So let's move on to the next clip. Alright, so as you can see, we find this guy here, and I actually knock him off his horse, but I turn around, just let him get up, because I want to have, you know, the nice little fight. Instead of the horse knockdown, lo and behold, another player comes in, and I drop a super mean Dawnbreaker on top of him with my Subterranean Assault, and quickly take that other player down. I see the next blue player coming on the right. I get an awesome Subterranean crit rush combo down on that tankier kind of Templar there, and then I just kind of missed around the rocks here to set up the burst on this guy, get him with a good Magnum Shot knockback, put a poison injection in him, and then of course I just do the Subterranean, go for the Dawnbreaker, and I actually don't kill him with the Dawnbreaker. He's just barely survives. We're both super low on HP. I get a really nice flick on him there and kill him with the Executioner cancel on the roll, and then I'm left to fight this last, I think he's a DK, I'm not really sure, but he's playing a tankier spec because he doesn't really have too much to stop me, I guess. He's not doing a lot of pressure, and he's not really stunning me super hard. I go for my healing ultimate here, hoping just to kind of hold my position a little bit against these guys, but I turn around and see more blues coming, decide that it is time for me to back out of this fight, and that is exactly what we do. Alright, moving on to the next clip. We are attacking a blue keep here, and here we find a blue player running in to kind of defend it, right? He's going to defend his keep, of course. So we open with a really nice Magnum Shot over top of him just to kind of like do a troll stun and put some pressure. This other player comes in, he eats a nasty Magnum Shot Subterranean crit rush combo, and then his character bugs out a little bit. I would have finished him a little bit cleaner, but his character bugged out and got tossed behind me. This guy here is pretty tanky, so I'm just trying to be patient with him. I try to go for the Dawnbreaker there. It ends up not killing him. I should have gone for the Dawnbreaker when he did the first jabs. I think that's when his defenses were the most down. And then another Warden comes in here, so we got to fight her too. She starts throwing the birds down on me. I'm not too terribly concerned. Birds no longer undodgeable, so we do have good counter to that. I retreat back into the building here. Very important on this build, of course, as you can see throughout all this gameplay, LOS is incredibly important. Use your terrain, use your movement and your mist form to stay alive. And as you can see here, we're just kiting them using our block, roll, and mist, and working our way back into a little bit of a situation where the fighting will be a little bit more favorable. Unfortunately, I take the Eclipse from the guard there. Not a huge deal, though. I'm just going to do a heavy attack fake coming down, and here we catch one of them by themselves on the Subterranean into the Dawnbreaker, get an awesome combo off on her, and just literally just destroy. So we take that guy down, and then we're left to fight. I think just the Templar is left here. Finally, I get to turn around, put a little bit of pressure on this mage, just finish him off. Here comes the Templar up the side. So at this point, I know there's a lot of DC here. I don't think the EP assault on this keep actually went well because we don't win this keep. And I end up getting zerged pretty hard by all the DC here, but I'm just going to keep fighting in here. This guy's, like I said, he's a little bit tankier, so I'm just being really patient with my combos on him. I have the ult ready, but I'm going to drop it on him there for some nice spike damage. Catch him a little bit off guard, actually, but he responds really well, going for a good purge, going for lots of heals. Turns around with his own ult. I preemptively went for the heal, kind of expecting to feel his Dawnbreaker coming in rebuttal, and I just do a little bit of burst healing here, go back around the corner, drop my healing ult because he's playing a pretty heavy dot build. We talked about how dot builds is kind of one of the weaknesses defensively of this build. You don't want to get too many dots on you because there's not a lot that we can do about it other than just out heal it. But this guy has kind of made the decision he's going to wait for some reinforcements because he's not really able to take me down. The Sork comes in here, so now the reinforcements have arrived. There you see that huge, beefy Subterranean. Subterranean being a ground-based AoE is actually unblockable, and that's why you see it do so much damage through block to these players. And there's the beautiful combo there. The same, we go for the roll dodge into the Subterranean Assault, Mist form into the Dawnbreaker, and just bait out the full combo on top of him and just drop that guy there. And then we're left to fight this Sork. I throw my trees down because I'm kind of low on stamina here. Want to get a couple heavy attacks off to make sure that I'm okay. And then we just keep fighting them, playing the kite game here, making sure that these guys are not going to land an easy wrecking blow or stun or anything on me. I'm just always running in circles around them. But lo and behold, you cannot do it forever. And here you see I take a bad stun from the leap. I'm low on stamina. I tried to block it. I actually ran out of stamina going for the block there. And that is the end of that. Alright guys, that is the end of the build video. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, feel free to hit that like and subscribe button and show your support. We play live on Twitch. If you guys want to catch some of this gameplay live when I'm doing it, I play live on Twitch almost all my ESO playing, so if you guys want to catch me live, the link, of course, is in the description. And then finally, we are sponsored by What the Fast, a VPN for gamers. If you guys get crap ping to your favorite games, namely ESO, I use What the Fast for ESO. If you get crap ping to ESO and you want to maybe fix that, you can try out a VPN and see if it fixes it for you. It's free to try from the link in the description below. And as always, guys, have a fantastic day. And I hope to see you again next time.